We'll call to order the meeting of the Ellettsville Plan Commission for Thursday, August 8th, 2024. Zach, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Denise, I guess it's you who gets to do roll call.
David Drake.
Here.
Dan Swanson.
Here.
Steve Hale.
Here.
Pamela Samples. Ryan Skaggs. Here. Pat Wesolowski.
Here.
Zach Michael.
Here.
Does anyone have a conflict of interest statement regarding our business tonight? Seeing none. No old business, new business, voluntary annexation of 5517 North Union Valley Road, 6.23 acres. Petitioner is Value Built Incorporated, case number PC 24-21.
Good evening. First on the agenda tonight is a petition by Value Built Incorporated to voluntarily annex approximately 6.23 acres of land located at 5517 North Union Valley Road. And I have to apologize, when I sent out the packet, I didn't include the fiscal plan, but it's in your packet this evening. The proposed annexation area is 59% contiguous to the town of Ellettsville, and 100% of the property owners are parties to the petition. Property is currently zoned AG/RR, agricultural/rural reserve by Monroe County, and is recommended to be designated as residential 1, single-family residential upon annexation. Property will be located in Council Ward 4. Property is serviced by water. The annexation should not require any capital projects to extend services, and any cost for extension of utilities is borne by the developer. Town will provide police, fire, EMS, and other governmental services immediately upon annexation. The Plan Commission action shall be in the form of favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to Town Council, which takes the final action on the annexation petition. Staff recommends a favorable recommendation be forwarded to Town Council with the recommended zoning of R1, single-family residential, upon annexation. And I'll try to bring up my materials while you look, and petitioner is present.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions from Denise before she gets her stuff up? So basically, this is just a continuation of Union Valley Farms, and it will be the same. Well, we're not even to that point yet. This is just the annexation.
Yes. And then whatever your recommendation is, then it'll go to council, who will make the final decision. Yeah, that's it. So this shows the zoning around it is R1, which is in Ellettsville. The remainder is in Monroe County. So there's some pictures. It has a long drive back to it off of Union Valley, and just a lot of grass and trees to see right now. There is a house. Would that be to the north, Ernest? Yeah, to the north. And I just couldn't get a photograph because I would have been trespassing, so.
So I assume that's an easement or a right-of-way?
Correct,
there.
there's an ingress-egress easement.
Is that wide enough for a street at some point?
The street will be off of Johanna Court.
Right, I meant, but is that easement wide enough for a street in the future?
I think the number of houses to be constructed will be under 25. But petitioner can address that also.
Okay, yeah, I should have asked. I should have asked. Yeah.
But that's my understanding, so it won't have the requirement of two entrances, but I don't know their intention with the existing house either.
Okay, go ahead. What did you want? Did you want to tell us anything else?
No, that was it. I just wanted to bring my stuff up,
Okay.
pictures to show you, so.
But I thought it had, so with the R1 zoning, I mean, we're not to the point of talking about what's actually going to go there yet, but with R1 zoning, it's going to be basically the same density as is currently in Union Valley Farms.
Correct, it'll be under the existing, well, it may not be, it may be under the UDO when it's passed, but by the time they get their infrastructure and streets in, he thinks maybe it'll be around 20 lots.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Denise? Okay.
Just to clarify, you asked about the easement. Are you talking about the one to the north there that goes out on Union Valley again?
Yeah, it's this one.
So is that easement going to be included in the, still
Yes.
in the annexation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now let's hear from the petitioner.
Hello, I'm Ernest. Nice to see you all again. Any questions?
Well, I guess I should have asked you, is that easement wide enough for a street in the future?
It is not.
Okay. And is there any plan at some point, I know the whole development has like 4 stubs to the south and
Yep.
2 or 3 to the north.
Correct.
I assume at some point the goal is to have another
Major
entrance or
exit.
exit.
So that's something that Mike and I talked about, Farmer, is in the future, basically continue Joanna Drive to eventually, to dead end to the next property, and then one day in the future, there's a chance it would go to Union Valley Road. But going north, the elevation changes, even if we could get, enough approval from the other owners on that easement, it would be tough to make the second exit go north.
But it is possible to the south.
Possible straight to you mean existing through Union Valley Farms?
Yes.
I'm not terribly familiar with the other exits that are stubbed out currently.
And the reason I ask is because we have later on the agenda tonight the issue with the 2 entrances and exits, and this whole subdivision only has 1 currently, is that right?
No, Union Valley Farms can go into Hidden Meadows, and then Hidden Meadows goes back out. Is it
Where
Union
does
Valley
Hidden
or?
Valley met? I
can't remember.
don't
It's been a
think it
while.
comes back out again.
I didn't think it did.
It doesn't?
No, not from Hidden Meadow. Those are all cul-de-sacs.
Are they? It's been a while since I've been in there.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that Union Valley Farms, I mean, it's been there a long time. I'm assuming that it was initially developed before we had the 2 entrance and exit
Correct.
requirement. But I think, we do need to think about in the future how we're going to make a second exit out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, there isn't, any, there's several places it could go, but it doesn't currently.
And just to clarify real quick, you said the easement that's on the north of the property
Correct.
in question, you said the elevation there is not
Well,
favorable
it
for an
drops,
exit?
quite a few feet. The other thing is, so this annexation, we are not planning on developing the entire property. So the property owner is intending to subdivide part of this off for sale.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Well, and
Well, it'll eventually come through Plan Commission for that purpose.
And I'm not trying to say that it's your responsibility with these few lots to do what probably should have been done a long time ago. I was just bringing up the point that it's something that we need to consider in the future.
The good thing about Union Valley Farms is the entrance is, very robust. So that is one of the good things, which is why I think it's been able to support all of these. Because it's basically it's kind of more of like a boulevard, the entrance.
And like I've said several times so far, we're putting the cart before the horse here, but while it's in front of us, I think it's a good time to talk about it. I would say that if any of the residents of Johanna Drive are here, this is probably not the road that they want to see connect to Union Valley Road, or Union Valley in the first place.
Sure.
Because then they would have a lot more traffic
It's definitely possible.
going through their neighborhood.
So do you have an offer to purchase this property then?
Correct. Subject to.
But are you purchasing the whole 6.23 acres?
That is to be determined.
So, bottom line here, we're just doing an annexation at this point, and like I said, it's not really his responsibility right now to come up with a second entrance on this gigantic subdivision. So all we're talking about tonight is the annexation.
If you don't own the property, can he annex it?
Well, I've got a question about that. Because I didn't know until this evening that the owner intended to subdivide and maybe keep part of it, so I don't know.
They are intending to annex the entire property in either way, and they have given written approval. And
Yeah, I have the written permission that he gave for Ernest to get it annexed.
basically, I'm just representing them as
Okay, but the permission they gave you was for the entire parcel.
correct. We are annexing the entire 6.23 acres in, regardless of whether, our purchase goes through or not. Like, either way, they do want to annex into Ellettsville. They asked us to take the lead on the process, though.
So,
And they're not here tonight, correct? Or
No.
I don't believe so.
I'm gonna guess, is it the fact that the existing home there, they want to keep and maybe just open up?
Potentially.
That's, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, any more questions for the petitioner from the council or commission? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Now we have time to hear from anybody from the public that would like to speak. We generally allow 3 minutes per person. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you can get a lot in 3 minutes. When you come up, tell us who you are and sign in on the sign-up sheet on the podium. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Weller, and I'm a neighbor, and so that's why I'm concerned. And I just have questions. This road, I live up the Tanglewood up there. So am I to understand that there's an easement that should the 6.23 acres be annexed, there would be an easement, so the town of Ellettsville would extend to Union Valley, is that what I'm hearing? Through the easement of this driveway that's on the north?
If the easement is included in, no, wait a minute.
It's basically a flag lot, right?
Yeah, so if somebody else owns the easement, the property may have an easement, but it's not actually Value-Built's property.
Correct.
So it doesn't extend it to Union Valley Road.
Well-
They just have an easement.
Yeah, their legal for value bill includes the easement, access.
But the
So-
actual easement would not be part of Ellettsville.
No, it's just like any other easement. It's owned by whoever the original person is, and it was granted to Value Bill or to the current owner for ingress and egress. So yeah, it's not owned by the town.
Okay. Thank
if that
you for
makes sense.
Is that your question?
Yes, but I do have another comment. You probably are all already familiar with how terrible this access is from Union Valley Farms to North Union Valley Road. There's almost no sight distance. So in the future, if you're considering hooking up to the 6.23 acre property in question, to this drive here, I just...
Well, he said that's not possible because the easement isn't wide enough for a public street.
Are you saying Nestle Downs? Is that where you're?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
So
that's not part of
eventually, in
the,
the future, but you're talking about Joanna Drive up there as a possible access.
yeah, the north of the
There
property.
wouldn't be any interaction with...
No, because that property is owned by somebody else
Okay.
through Nestle Downs.
I just thought maybe, by eminent domain, they can make a connection here.
Well, eventually, they could technically, but
I'm just voicing
it's
my
not going to
concern.
happen. It's not, yeah.
Doesn't even meet our code.
I've been hit
Yeah.
several times trying
Yeah, the
to...
town isn't going to do that because the easement isn't wide enough to make
Oh.
a city street.
Okay.
A city street has to be a certain width, and it wouldn't be big enough.
All right.
No, she's talking about here.
I know, well, she's talking about both of them, actually, so.
Okay,
She's saying that the intersection at Nestledown is terrible, which
Right.
we agree.
Yeah.
But she's also asking about the easement to the north, if it could ever
Yeah.
become a street. And we're saying, no, it can't become a
It
street.
can't, but my question was,
The-
you answered it already, that a right-of-way does not constitute the city's ownership.
That's
Or not
correct.
right-of-way.
Easement
Yeah,
does
to
not.
Get back to what Dan was asking me, I think, is that the easement doesn't automatically become a right-of-way for the town by this annexation. It's still
Okay.
just an ingress, egress for the current owner and/or value bill. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none. Did the petitioner want to say anything else in rebuttal? Okay. All right, any comments from the commission? And once again, I'll say, even though I got ahead of myself here, we're really only talking about the annexation tonight.
I thought you were going to give me 3 minutes.
I wish I could cut you off like that.
So actually, my question, I'm sorry, Pat, was to Darla. So do you not see a problem with this at all?
Well, with regard to,
Maybe dividing this up and the owner not stipulating that, that their intentions were going to be to separate the parcel?
well, I wish I'd known that, but I guess if there is a subdivision, maybe it'd be good if we had 2 petitioners on the subdivision, if that comes before you.
But for
If
the,
there's, ideally, the owner would be the one here, but if there's a petition on file with Denise Line saying that the owner gives permission for the annexation to go through, I think you're good.
I'm happy to address that.
They just want they just want to annex because Monroe County problem with the parcel.
I don't think they would even be here.
Owners of the property just felt more comfortable with us taking lead on the annexation. And then if there was a subdivision, it would be subdivided through the town of Ellettsville. So,
but so the owner of the property has given you a written authorization to do this?
Yes, and Denise just handed me a copy of it.
So that should be good
Yes.
enough.
and all of her contact information is, readily available. I think it's part of that letter, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, Darla?
Yes.
If we vote this to pass, and the developer don't develop it and don't buy it, does that mean it's still
Yeah, there's no
annexed?
automatic disannexation now.
They are totally, either way, regardless of whether we buy it or they keep it for another 100 years, they do want to be part of the town of Ellettsville. They weren't sure how to make that happen. So their realtor got hold of us.
So it's going to be annexed no matter what, whether it's developed or not. Or stays the way it is.
Do you feel comfortable with it?
Yes, the better question is, does the board feel comfortable?
He's got written authorization. He's just basically acting as, just like an attorney or any other representative would. So I don't see a problem with it. And you know how I like to pretend like I'm a lawyer. Okay, do we have a motion?
I move approval of the annexation 5517 North Union Valley Road, 6.23 acres. Petitioner, go ahead.
And what you're actually saying is that you recommend approval
Approval.
to the town council for the
There you go,
annexation.
sorry. Getting ahead of myself.
Second.
Okay, we
Is it
have
Steve who seconded?
a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
David Drake,
Yes.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Steve Hale,
Yes.
Zach Michael,
Yes.
Ryan Skaggs.
Yes.
Pat Wesolowski.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is development plan approval for an office building located at 509 West Temperance Street. Petitioners are Mark Cornett Architects and Dennis Birch. Case number PC 24-19.
Okay, this is a petition for development plan approval of an office building at 509 West Temperance Street. Petitioners are Mark Cornett Architects and Dennis Birch, representing Tiffany Norris, owner of the parcel. Applicants are requesting approval of a development plan to construct an office building totaling .19 acres. Property is zoned C3, general commercial, and the use is permitted by right. The business will be accessed from West Temperance Street. Technical Advisory Committee met on July 23rd and reviewed the plans as submitted. Recommendations from the tech review meeting either have been addressed or will be addressed by the time of building approval. Development plan approval is predicated on the 11 criteria listed under consideration number 6 on your staff report, and they are as follows. A, compatibility of the development plan with surrounding land uses. Office buildings are permitted by right in the C3 district and therefore would be considered compatible with surrounding land uses. In addition, the use will have little direct impact on adjacent properties. B, compatibility of the development plan with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. Commercial uses are encouraged along West Temperance Street. C, adequate provisions for internal management of traffic. Traffic will enter and exit from West Temperance Street, and adequate traffic flow has been accommodated in the development plan. The fire department has approved the use, as there is room to get their equipment on the lot, as presented in the development plan. The number of parking spaces is sufficient per town code. D, analysis of the capacity of adjacent streets to ensure that adjacent streets can safely and efficiently accommodate the additional traffic generated by the development. All traffic will come from West Temperance Street and South Fifth Street will be utilized for 2 employee parking spaces. There is no reason for concern at this time, as 2 employees will be utilizing South Fifth Street. E, adequate provisions for public facilities and infrastructure and provisions for extension of infrastructure to adjacent developable properties. Infrastructure will be included on site as required by fire and building codes. F, provisions for the allocation of land for streets, parks, schools, public and semi-public buildings, homes, business and industry as appropriate. West Temperance Street is maintained by Indiana Department of Transportation. G, adequate on-site management of stormwater and erosion control. Stormwater and erosion control will be managed in accordance with the town and state regulations. H, adequate provision for green space and/or landscaping. Petitioner has voluntarily included landscaping for the project. I, adequate provision for buffering to slightly reduce the visual impact of dissimilar developments. The petitioner has voluntarily agreed to include landscaping, which will serve as a buffer along West Temperance Street and South Sale Street. J, adequate protection of existing limestone structures. There are not any limestone structures located on the site. K, provisions of pathways, trails, and/or sidewalks for all non-industrial developments. Sidewalks will be added pursuant to the development plan. It is staff opinion that the requirements of the development plan section from the Town of Ellettsville Code of Ordinances have been reasonably achieved. Staff recommends the Plan Commission approve the development plan. So I'm going to go through the plans for you, and I added some renderings to it. So this is an aerial shot from the GIS. Pictures of the lot. And tell me if you need me to pause on one to ask questions.
If you could, right there. So am I seeing this, there's only 4 parking spots there?
There's going to be 2 or 3 on the parallel side, and then they have 2 on one side and 2 on the other.
6 total, 2 accessible, 2 client, 2 employee.
Yes.
And I'm assuming this isn't a high-traffic type of business where people are going to be coming in to, a large number of people aren't going to be coming in to do business.
Right. Petitioner thinks maybe 5 employees at any given time, and then some people will probably be in and out, new hires, maybe some clients.
So 6 total parking and 5 employees and 2 handicapped, so only 4?
Well, they're going to also talk to the church, because that parking lot of the church is right behind them, and I think that came up in tech review or something. I think they're going to talk to them, but for parking, but petitioner can explain that.
Oh, there's also a town parking lot right across the street.
Correct. You ready for me to move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the landscape plan. And it does show the parking a little clearer. This is the layout, floor plan.
Right there, just west of Circle K.
See
Behind the
elevations.
post office. No, you're on the wrong side of the street, behind Circle K. Yeah,
This is where the renderings start.
no, you're farther down, but just like a little. Yeah, it's not real.
Go back
I mean,
one,
it's-
Denise. So they are blocking the other entrance coming off of Sale Street, correct?
Correct, they're gonna put sidewalks
Okay,
all the
good
way
deal.
down.
That was my big question.
Okay.
I just hate people cut through that parking, or after they come out of Circle K.
Great coffee then.
So
This is the rear
parking right
side.
there, that's the churches, right?
Correct, yeah. And this is from if you're standing in a church parking lot looking towards Temperance. And that's it.
Is there anything coming off that alley there?
No, it's maintained by the town, though. We do plow that, but nothing, no.
But they'll be able to
Okay, and that's.
enter off that alley.
The employee parking, correct? Which is right, parallel parking. Visitor parking will be in the front of the building. I will say with how they started and what they had to work with and to fit that in there, they did a really good job of it.
Yeah, it's a very small lot.
So architect, engineer, and Ms. Norris, the property owner, are present if you have any questions for them, if you're done with me.
Okay,
Is it
anybody?
built?
Go ahead.
Is the building 28 foot wide? Is that what I see on here? Or did I miss something?
I have to look.
24?
Okay, anybody else for Denise? Okay, would the petitioner like to come up and talk.
Hi, I'm Dennis Birch with Mark Cornett Architects, and we're representing the owner. I think Denise pretty much covered everything. If you have any questions you'd like to address further, I can run through that, or I can give you kind of a quick overview of the project again, but it's basically kind of recapping what she said. One of the things, though, that she did leave out, obviously, this is an existing lot that was entirely, or is entirely asphalt paved. There is, as it stands right now, with the yard area landscape coverage, it's at 47.5% or 48% pervious surface now. And previously, it was 99.5 plus or minus of asphalt. So even with the parking areas, the park on each side, there's four spaces off of Temperance, the 2 spaces off of the alley. It's still added roughly 48% of the lot coverage to green area and landscaping. So,
Yeah, I noticed that from the plan. It'll definitely look a lot better on that corner than it does now.
yes, yes.
What's the building setback from the highway or
From the highway, it's 25 feet. The yard area setbacks, 10-foot rear, actually, no, 20-foot rear, 10-foot side. We're requesting a 10-foot offset as opposed to the 20, because if you took the 20 along with the 25-foot in front, there'd be essentially no buildable area on the site. So what would be considered, and this is a little bit different, I mean, what would be considered the rear yard here is 10 feet instead of 20 feet, and the front yard is 25.
Will there only be one exit and entrance on
There is one
46?
primary, yes, entrance and exit onto it, yes, off of Temperance.
Can you go back a few slides? Is it that, from the existing building to Sale Street, is it that whole area, or is it that pink area?
It's the whole.
That was just, I couldn't get rid of that on the GIS, so you just have to
I didn't know that's what you're talking about.
ignore
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, and
I had technical difficulties with this meeting.
and so reducing the rear setback is not really a problem because it backs up to a wall and a parking lot anyway.
Yeah, so town code addresses when you have a lot sided by 3 streets, you can determine which is your rear yard, so.
And you really earned your money trying to fit a building onto that lot.
Well, you try to be as efficient as possible, yeah, and still get something that's workable and usable, obviously, so.
So, does anybody have any questions for this gentleman? I would like to hear from the petitioner about, so that we can just clarify what what they envision with the parking and the employees and all those things.
So, do you want to come up and answer that, Tiffany?
Thank you.
Sorry. Are you asking me about how many people will be in and out?
Well, I think someone expressed concern about whether that was enough parking spaces or not.
Yeah, so normally, we usually only have about 3 employees in there, so maybe 5 at the most. And with what we do, we don't have a lot of employees at our office ever. So we have people come there and get hired, come there, maybe do a TB test, and then they go to the other people's homes and take care of them. So they take care of people in their homes. They help them with, daily living activities, take care of elderly people and people that are disabled.
So you're comfortable that that's enough parking?
Yeah, I mean, that's about what we use daily now, so I would think so.
And then I'm sure you realize there's a town parking lot across the street
Yes.
anyway. So.
And I plan to speak to the church too, if we have it in service, or something like that, where we need extra parking.
And that's the question I was going to ask you. If the church doesn't allow you to park there, are you still comfortable with the
Yes,
parking?
I am.
And you have spoken with the church and
We're going to,
going to?
yeah.
And what kind of traffic are you going to have, if any, from like clientele?
Yeah, not a lot, that's what I'm saying, like,
Okay.
It's mostly 3 people in the office usually, and then the people that come in to get hired, they don't work in the office. They come there and then they go out and work into people's homes. They clock in and out from their phones and their GPS at their client's house, so they're never really at that office except to come there and maybe turn in paperwork or, get hired.
And you're putting a training room at the east end? to
Yes,
work-
for in-service if we need it,
Yeah.
so.
So besides employees, you'll have public actually coming into the building too? or-
Only to get hired. So like if they come there to get a job, they'll actually, come in and fill out an application and have an interview.
Everything on a single floor?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Everything on only one floor?
Yes.
So you have no walk-in traffic at all except for employees,
Yeah.
correct?
No.
I think that was probably the clarification on it. There's no, I think what he was asking is there's no patients being seen there for anything.
No, they're not
It's-
being
You guys
seen
do
there.
everything remotely.
No, they're not being seen. I mean, somebody may come in, like, their caregiver wants to bring them in because they wanted to meet us or talk to us or something like that. But no, nobody receives care in the office.
Okay, any more questions for the petitioner? And I'm assuming that this all meets town code?
Correct.
Okay.
They had to work hard to get it to meet town code. They've been working on it for some time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, we're ready for a motion. Hearing none, I'll make a motion that we approve the development plan approval for an office building located at 509 West Temperance Street, case number PC 24-19.
Second.
Well, everybody wanted to second it, but no one wanted to make it. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
David Drake?
Yes.
Dan Swafford?
Yes.
Steve Hale?
Yes.
Zach Michael?
Yes.
Ryan Skaggs?
Yes.
Pat Wesolowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And thank you. We needed something at that corner for a while now, so.
Good work.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next on our agenda is Resolution 02-2024 to authorize the Ellettsville Planning Director to temporarily waive the requirement of 2 access points for the Charlestown Manor subdivision.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye. When I say they've worked a long time and worked hard, I wasn't joking. So, okay, Charlestown Manor's second interest. This is a request by the Planning Department. Charlestown Manor has had 4 phases approved by the Plan Commission, and to date, approximately 60 homes have been constructed by various builders. Town code requires subdivisions with over 25 houses to provide 2 access ways in and out. The second entrance of Charlestown Manor has to tie into Westbrook Downs, which is Monroe County's jurisdiction. On approximately May 6, 2021, Charlestown Manor developer filed for a right-of-way permit to start the second entrance. The right-of-way permit application was approved approximately 2 weeks ago. Approximately February 11, 2021, the Monroe County Drainage Board expressed concern about the slope conditions. The drainage design was on the March 7, 2021, a little over 3 years later, Drainage Board agenda, but it was not approved. On July 29th of this year, Charlestown Managed Engineer sent an email to the MS4 coordinator asking when the review will be complete, and the response was he should be receiving the first round of comments soon. They have not received the first round of comments. The delay of constructing a second entrance is not the fault of the developer, but a third party. Planning Department's requesting a waiver so the developer of Charlestown Manor will not be in violation of Ellettsville's town code. Therefore, I'm requesting approval of Resolution 2-2024.
And that was going to be my first question is what's the hurry here? But
It's
we're doing
been
it
going
because
through.
they're in
Yeah.
violation of the code is why we need to fix this.
Yeah, and I originally called them in to meet with them to say like, hey, what's up? We got a problem. Well, they told me what's up and called their engineer, and then they gave me access to their, I don't know, their client files within Monroe County's portal to verify everything and provided a timeline to me. And so then Wesler Engineering is their consultant, county's consultant. So in June, Mike Farmer, town manager, called them to see the status, and they said, well, they were just sent the files to review some 3 years later. So we are trying to put pressure where we can, not pressure, but try to help the developers out, but.
Well, unless I'm missing it here, I don't see an end date on this resolution. I would rather have a date that it ends, and then we can, if we have to, we can approve another one, but I really hate to just leave it open-ended to whenever they get approval, I guess, if that makes sense. So would a year be reasonable?
If you want to put an end date, I would maybe put 6 months.
6 months, okay. And then, do we have, this might be more of a legal question that might require research, but, so, does the county have any reason to deny them this street being built?
Without knowing what the county's concerns are with regard to the grading permit with the drainage board, I can't answer the question.
I can tell you what Doug Graham, their engineer, the developer's engineer, told me. He said there's a limestone feature on private property, and they think the water runoff from that affects where he wants to build the street. So he's gone out in all the heavy rainfalls and videotaped it, and he said it just flows right across like it should. It doesn't puddle, and he's given that to them, and but it's not changed anything.
So based on our experience with the court system and our rules and regulations, we could probably think that if they have all that evidence and the county denies them, that a judge would overturn their denial. And they would get it. No, I'm just. So anyway, I guess there doesn't appear to be a legitimate reason that it would be denied. It's just being delayed, is my
Correct.
point.
At the county level, correct?
Correct.
There's not another spot for that to come out at?
No, and it's what was approved when you guys approved
Yeah.
the original plans. That I've talked to Mike Farmer, and at some point, we will probably be asking Darla to help us with this. But he wants to wait a little bit.
See, I told you it wouldn't be court. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions for Denise? I mean, I'm completely comfortable with giving them 6 months to try to work this out.
So at the bottom of the resolution, then, you would be voting to waive the requirement of 2 access points for the subdivision of 25 lots or more for the Charlestown Manor subdivision for a period of 6 months from Thursday, August 8th, 2024, period.
Well, then what happens after the 6 months if it's not available?
They have to come back and reapply, is what I heard.
Yeah,
Dave
they would
say
have to
you'd
come
rather
back.
Not just give them an open-ended
Okay.
pass, but make them come back and explain the progress and.
Then we'd have the right to stop the building there?
Yes. But this isn't his fault, though. I mean, they started in February 21 with the grading permit.
Yeah, I drive down there all the time and look to see if there'd been any progress and hadn't seen any, so I didn't know why.
Yeah,
but-
that bridge has been there an awful long time.
They said part of the delay, and it shows on the records, was another engineer hired by the county had to do drainage and calculations, and it just took forever. It was like over a year or so of that.
Okay, any more questions or comments about this?
So Darla, can they approve it and then David can stop by and sign the resolution, or does it come back to the next meeting?
No, I think you can approve it as amended, and then we can print out a clean copy, and then Dave can sign it at his leisure. It doesn't have to wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll motion to accept resolution 02-2024 as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
David Drake,
Yes.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Steve Hale,
Yes.
Zach Michael,
Yes.
Ryan Skaggs,
Yes.
Pat Wesolowski.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. And I'll let you know, Dave, when it's ready. And then, sorry, I was waiting for you to read the next
Oh,
agenda item.
Okay, next on the agenda is Resolution 03-2024, recommending repeal of the Town of Ellettsville, Indiana zoning ordinance, subdivision control ordinance, and maps, and the adoption of the Town of Ellettsville, Indiana Unified Development Ordinance and maps.
So I will let Darla explain this.
All right, so you will recall that at the last Plan Commission meeting, the Plan Commission passed by a vote of 6-0 to pass on to the Town Council with a favorable recommendation, passage of the UDO and the new zone maps. So that is coming before council this coming Monday on August 12th. And so the vendor with whom the town has been working, Taylor Seifker Williams, has recommended that there are certain provisions that should not be repealed but should remain in the code for now until a standards manual is developed for those items. So things like the Plan Commission rules, the Board of Zoning Appeals rules, your application fees, your fine schedule, things like that. They recommend being a standards manual because, for example, like with regard to the stormwater, IDEM is having IDEM is having all the municipalities revise their stormwater ordinances. So you don't want to have to come back and do a new ordinance because another organization has new regulations. So there are certain things that Taylor Seifker says just leave in your subdivision and zoning regulations for now. So the purpose of this document is to make clear to the council what your recommendation is. Pass the UDO, but don't repeal the planning and zoning regulations and the subdivision regulations in 152 and 153 in their entirety. So, and because the town council has the authority to pass the ordinances, this is just to kind of clear things up and hopefully make things clear to the council what your intent is. Because these sections here that I have listed in this resolution are not currently included in the UDO. And so we don't want to repeal, like I said, 152 and 153 in their entirety, because then the next developer that comes into Denise is going to leave Denise adrift, shall we say, because she's not going to have these code sections to rely upon when she's looking at their development plans, so.
Okay, makes sense to me. Anybody have any questions? Okay, well, I will make a motion that we adopt Resolution 03-2024.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
David Drake,
Yes?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Steve Hale,
Yes.
Zach Michael,
Yes.
Ryan Skaggs,
Yes.
Pat Wesolowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next item on our agenda is Planning Department update.
Next meeting, September 5th. I may have new business, but I don't know yet.
Well, we may or may not be here.
There's no one here to make any privilege of the floor comments. Are there any planning commission comments? No, Dan. Oh,
I don't think I fell asleep, but did we approve the minutes for July 11th?
no, I don't think we did.
Probably not.
Very good, Zach.
How did I jump
I get no
past
credit
that?
for
Way to
that.
go.
I even checked it off my
Oh,
list.
you did?
Way to go, Dave.
Zach's trying to get the middle chair.
He can have it. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes for July 11th?
Motion to approve the minutes from July 11th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Any further plan commission comments? Okay, seeing none, we're adjourned.